watching, and I'm going to bring you the real news, the unvarnished news, the whole truth and nothing but the truth here on Richmond's Morning News. And again, rules are we respect everyone's opinion, but we demand they respect ours. We'll respect everybody, but we demand you respect us as well. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I went with all great intentions, and you people know if you've been listening to this radio show for any time, ever since I got an opportunity to come here to Virginia, there was the thing that I was looking forward to the most, and that is spending America's 250th birthday here in the heart of where all of this happened. The Commonwealth that gave us George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the founding fathers played such a big part of the original 13 colonies overthrowing the rule of the British and giving us our independence. And that was one of the big reasons I wanted this job, is I was going to be able to be here for our semi-quincentennial, and it's been tremendous. Being around all of this history, I've learned more about history in the last year than I ever learned in school by visiting museums and seeing the actual places where history took place. So when I got the opportunity to go to D.C. for the semi-quincentennial, I'm like, I can't pass this up. I get a special invite from the White House. I was in a special seating section. I was so excited. I took my family up to Washington, D.C., actually, on the 3rd. We drove up on the 3rd, dropped the dog off at the kennel, and went up, checked in a hotel, and said, let's jump on the metro. I want to see the Great American State Fair. My son said, I want to see the rodeos. We went down. We were so excited to be there. And the heat had stopped it. They had shut down everything for a while. And then we got back in when they reopened, and we went in, and we got through security. We said, let's go visit all the state pavilions. Now, the pavilions had been controversial because some states just said, I'm not going to participate. Hawaii was one. Pennsylvania had their 2 senators that walked into the Pennsylvania state exhibit, and the rooms are like 20 by 30. They're not huge rooms. And they said, this is embarrassing. And they rallied businesses to come to Pennsylvania to see if they could make their exhibit worthy of their state. So there are some that just went all out. There are some that were just fantastic. Here's the ones that I thought did a really great job. Pennsylvania, now that they dressed it up, it was one of the places you had to go visit. Arizona put so much forethought in theirs. It was a full sensory experience as you walk through to see what it's like to be in Arizona. New York was tremendous. They actually had tour guides that took you around New York to show you about their great state. North Carolina had NASCAR cars in there. It was tremendous. Like I said, Pennsylvania was great. California, not so much. Other states just didn't really put much effort into it. Everybody that walked in to one of the pavilions were able to grab a passport. And on that passport, you just go and you get a stamp to say that you went to every state that had a booth at the pavilion, and you go and they stamp your pass. And there were all the protectorates and territories that had theirs as well, Guam and quite a few. I was walking to one booth, one exhibit, and it was Hawaii. And it was my son and I. It was a little hot, so my wife kind of stayed in the shade. So we were walking, going from state to state. And we were blown away, Arizona. You walk in, and it's a complete submersive experience, and you get to feel what it's like being up in the north part of Arizona, up in the pines where you wouldn't think of Arizona, the desert, and then you go through Tucson where I lived, and it's the National Observatory, and you see a million stars. It was really a great exhibit, completely different than anybody else's. So then we said, let's go see Hawaii, and we walk, and 2 women go, don't bother. And I said, why? And the 2 women looked at me, and they said, we're from Hawaii, and we wanted to see our state, but we knew that our governor said that we weren't going to participate in this for whatever reason. So they said they walked into the Hawaii booth, and there was no one there. There was just some signs put up, and there was no one there to stamp the passes that the kids were coming in for. So excited. These kids are walking around so excited to see everything there is to see about the different states in the union. Hawaii had not a person in there. So the 2 women who were on vacation coming to Washington, D.C. for the 4th of July from Hawaii took it upon themselves to stand there and man the booth for a couple hours, and they were stamping all the passports. That's what Americans do. We step up when we're needed. So they did. They stepped up. They spent hours in there and said, it's a little hot. We're going to get going. So there's nobody manning the Hawaii booth. So then we got ready to go to the Virginia booth. Oh, there it is, Virginia. And I just posted it on my Instagram, Rich for America, Rich, the number 4 America. And I shared it with WRVA. Rich for America is where you can see these pictures. These are ones I took on my phone. You see the Virginia booth, and we've got a pennant that hangs off the front of our booth that says Virginia and big VA. And then you see the bicycle padlock that they used. And there's a lock on the darn thing, but on ours, we have a bicycle cable lock that you'd use to lock up your bike at VCU that closed off the pavilion. Not only do we not have anybody working in there, we locked it down so nobody can even walk into the Virginia exhibit. Now, I'm not the only one who saw this. I've seen other people put this out on Instagram as well, that you couldn't walk into the Virginia booth. Embarrassing. But I'm not sure if that's the most embarrassing thing, because if they actually would have had the Virginia booth open, and I posted this photo, it's a mishmash and a hodgepodge, and it's thrown together stuff from wherever they got it for Virginia. There's and you can see, you go look for yourself. There's a pop-up sign that says State Fair of Virginia. There is a love display made of corn and looks like an apple. Looks like it's probably left over from a fair somewhere. There's a flat screen TV, and there's a table with a black tablecloth and a Virginia is for lovers banner that is halfway rolled up and some junk behind a table. That's it. That's all you had in our booth. I have other booths where they have people that are interactive. They're handing things out. I've got protectorates and territories that have better booths completely themed out. We're Virginia, for gosh sakes. We're the home of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, Monticello on Mount Vernon. We're the home of the Pentagon. We're the home of so many great things. Norfolk, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. We've got so much to show of this Commonwealth of Virginia, and we had nothing. We had leftover things from someplace else they probably found in a storeroom they threw out there, and we didn't even have people to man the booth. My gosh. Governor, General Assembly, I would have taken vacation and stood up there for a week and stamp every passport that came through to tell them about this Commonwealth, and I've only lived here for a year and a half. I'm going to inquire today officially through channels to ask, why in the world is the Virginia booth on July 3rd closed, and why is it so insignificant with a lack of thought to showcase our great Commonwealth? The mother of presidents is right here. How many presidents we have come out of this Commonwealth? You could have had so many great things tying into George Washington and Thomas Jefferson for the 4th of July, and we didn't even try. Virginia, we didn't even try. Why is that? Governor Spanberger, why is it that our booth, from what I could see, because I couldn't walk in, because there's a bicycle padlock that keeps me from going in to experience the Virginia exhibit, I couldn't see a photo of or anything of George Washington or Thomas Jefferson, two of the most famous Virginians that founded this country. And on our 250th birthday, there's nothing in there for our governor, nor for our nothing. It was sad, actually. And people are walking away like, where's Virginia? What's this? Looking in, peering in through the windows like, that's all Virginia has? Massachusetts, same thing. Hawaii, same thing. Why? I'd like to know why the Virginia exhibit was so poorly put together and locked on July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, when people are coming into D.C. to experience the semi-quincentennial. We couldn't even be bothered to do anything. You could ask me, I would have gone in and found things to do. I would have rallied people. to come in. Senator Kaine, Senator Warner, we saw what Fetterman did, and we saw what McCormick did in Pennsylvania. Have you been down to our exhibit to see what's going on? Would you be willing to rally people for the next 10 days to try to get people to come by and see our booth to showcase what this Commonwealth's all about? I'm also going to inquire to our senators to ask them, have they been there? Have they seen what our exhibit is? Go check it out. Rich for America on Instagram, Rich the number 4 America. See for yourself what our booth looked like. I had to take pictures because I'm not going to ask you to take my word for it, because there's people that are going, you're just MAGA, you're just this, you're just that. No, I'll show you what it looked like. The fact that they didn't even professionally get the key to lock the darn door. They just threw a bicycle cable lock on there. Embarrassment and disappointing for anybody that tried to visit to see what Virginia was all about. You want to comment? The James River Air text line is open for you. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Governor Spanberger, why does our exhibit look so shoddy? Senator Kaine, Senator Warner. Well, I'm gonna send a text message over to McGuire and Whitman as well. Why is our booth look so shoddy at the Great American State Fair? You guys comment. 833-804-1140. Nobody tried. Nobody tried. I could see that. I put on events like this. I've worked booths like that. Nobody tried. 833-804-1140 is the number for you to join us. All right. We've got more coming up here on the program, including Brian Kilmeade, and we'll talk to him about what his experience at 4th of July, Washington, D.C. was all about. We'll do that for you coming up in the next hour. Hey, quick reminder, program brought to you in part today by Pearson